Welcome back to TML Weekly. This is season 2, episode 1. As always, brought to you by Bjorn and Don Cherry Sports Grill. So John, we'll start with you. How was your summer?
Buddy, it was pretty good. Can't wait to get back into it. I loved watching the first game the other night. Didn't start out great, but you know what? First preseason game. Got Ottawa going tonight, so it'll be a good one. Summer was good, man. I just got to get out and golf a lot. Catherine, my oldest, is off at University of Guelph, so it's interesting. Now I'm apparently a Guelph supporter, which is a little weird for me as a U of T grad. Everything's been pretty good. Had a flood in the kitchen, so that's taken up my week here, and other than that, I got no real complaints, man. I'm excited to get season 2 going. Just get back into her. How was your summer, Nolan? What'd you do? Anything fun?
Just working lots at my local golf course, and then getting free golf. So that's always nice, and just playing some hockey. Can't complain. Pretty good. Johnny Mac, I heard you had some good time on the golf course.
Busy out here.
Are you going to brag about it?
Yeah. What's that?
Are you going to brag about it?
No, I didn't get one. That was from 10 years ago. Did you see it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't got another one yet. I've got 2.
Oh, I thought you got another one.
No. You think you wouldn't have got a FaceTime call from me if I had got another one?
Fair enough. Huh? Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. I wouldn't. If I had another one, I'd have the ball glued on my shoulder. No, it was a memory. I've been busy. I've been on the ice a little bit. Jack's healthy. They're about to start with Halifax minor hockey, Hawks AA U11. So I think they're gonna have a good group this year. I know you two both do this, Nolan. Like we do the football pool with you and your family, and we do a family hockey pool. So it's myself, Mindy, and Jack, and then Madison and Rob and my daughters, their boyfriends, Reese and Bryn, my mother and my father, and now my uncle. So there's 10 of us. And in the past, it would be like, okay, pick 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 4 goalies, right? And what'll happen is everybody will give in their list, and everybody, like 20 of the players are all the same because it's McDavid and blah blah blah. So we decided going into the playoffs here this past season that we're going to do a draft, and I kept it small. It was like, I think we picked 5 forwards, 2 defensemen, and a goalie in the playoffs. So it went pretty quick. Wow. We tried to do a full one. I started on Saturday. I got my daughter Robin and Bryn. They live in Vancouver, so they're 4 hours away from where we are in Halifax. My mom and my dad are in their 70s. My dad's recovering from a health issue, so he's going to bed at 7:00 Halifax time, which is 3:00 Vancouver time. And then I've got my daughter Madison, who's at TMU, and her boyfriend that's at York, and they're in class, and we're trying to. It's been a mayhem, absolute mayhem trying to get. And then people are trying to pick the same people. My mother picked 3 goalies, and you don't catch it till the end, and yeah. So anyway, but we love it. It's a nice way for us all to keep in touch, and we're spread out right across the country. So yeah, that's been my last few days, kind of administering that. So, but yeah, ready to go. I watched a couple periods the other night, and I don't take too much stock in the preseason as I don't think anybody should. But they turned it on. They had a good third period, and he's trying some new things. It's going to be good. We'll get into that later. What I did want to mention, guys, before we get going, the Johnny Gaudreau stuff and the tragedy that happened a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if we talked right away, but so the night it happened, it started to be a rumor going around on Twitter, and I got a glimpse of it. So I stayed up late because I had a funny feel. There's a lot of these hoaxes out there, but when these hoaxes go out there, a lot of times now somebody will come in and say, no, that's not true. I just talked to. So it was weird. It was a weird thing because nobody wanted to report it. but I think everybody knew what was going on. And anyway, just rocked the hockey world. Awful, awful, awful thing. Like, if you think at this day and age that it's okay to drink and drive, okay, that's in my opinion. You want to make an analogy to somebody in a hockey. It's a chicken shit thing to do this day and age with all the options that there are. Not that it was ever okay, but with all the options that are out there, there's ride share, there's there's always taxis and TTC or whatever it is that or just stay where you are. Two young men, fathers, husbands, expectant fathers, lost their lives, and they're driving their bikes home from their sister's wedding rehearsal. So it should make anybody that wants to make a poor decision like that think again. But what comes out of it is a lot of and I've never said a bad word about Johnny Gaudreau. I didn't really know Johnny Gaudreau as a person. Loved his game. He could play the game for sure. But then when something like this happens and you start to hear about the person himself, and then you reflect and you go, well, I never really heard anything bad about Johnny. I mean, they weren't booing him in Calgary like they booed JT in Long Island. You know what I mean? Similar thing. He left. So, but what comes out is what a great teammate Johnny was, and a great guy and a great father. He took way less money to go to a small market team that probably didn't have a real good future in the Columbus Blue Jackets for one reason, and that's to be close to his family. He took less money to go there than he got offered by multiple teams. So says a lot about the guy. Rest in peace to Johnny and Matt, and we hug your loved ones when you see things like that. It's tough. But yeah, it rocked everybody. John, what did you think when you heard?
I remember we were texting that night, and I just said like this, just it's devastating, right? And then when you hear both of their wives, both expecting kids. It's the day before a wedding where it's supposed to be joyful and everybody's family together and having fun and celebrating each other. It's amongst the worst things that you can. I can't remember something, that's been that affecting. And I think regardless of whether you're like us who eat, sleep, and breathe hockey all the time, or you're my wife or my mom who hears about it and kind of goes like, that is like their heart breaks for people like that. And so all I can say is, God bless them all. That's, take care of each other. One thing that I did want to shout out, and a guy who takes a lot of heat in Philadelphia, John Tortorella. John Tortorella had Johnny Gaudreau's dad out to the practice and, out on the ice working with the guys. And I thought, that's a first-class move by a guy who, oftentimes gets, the lightning rod kind of things. But the people that know Torts, that love Torts, swear by him. And
Torts does things the right way.
That's what I mean.
Torts just isn't politically correct enough to hide what he's doing. He'll just tell you. Right. But I totally agree. Brought Mr. Gaudreau out, and that's got to be really special. And I saw an interview with Torts yesterday, and he said, we asked him, we reached out a while back, and he didn't know, if he wanted to, or, if it was something. And then, so we gave him some space on it and said, hey, you know what, get back to us. The option's there. And he got back. I think it's very therapeutic for Mr. Gaudreau to kind of be around some hockey players, and that'll give them that, feeling of the boys. And, yeah, I mean, that's first class. Philadelphia Flyers and, Danny Briere, and, they get a lot of heat, but that's a pretty cool thing for them to do. What about you, Nolan? What were you doing, and what was your thought?
Yeah, so I was just getting ready for bed, and I just saw it on my phone and thought it was just some something made up because you see so much crazy stuff on your phone nowadays that people can just say whatever they want. So I kind of just brushed it off, and then in the morning woke up and got a couple texts, saw a couple posts, and didn't really believe it. And just terrible thing to happen, especially with so many
It's
things.
terrible, whether it's Johnny Gaudreau or a guy that none of us have ever heard of. You know what? At the end of the day, don't drive drunk. You know, I mean, everybody's got people around them that care about them, and you know, you have a list as long as your arm of people you could call and say, hey, if you don't come pick me up, I'm going to drive drunk, right? And people are going to line up to come pick you up. So just, you know, use this as a reminder that, you know, life's short.
Life's short, and let's get on to why we are all here, our beloved Maple Leafs. Nolan.
Yeah, so let's dive into some training camp news. So we're going to start from goaltending and out, because the forwards is definitely the most jam-packed and will probably be the longest segment of this area. Like the goaltending and defense is a lot more clear to see who's going to be slotted where. So goaltending, we have Wall, Stolarz, and Matt Murray and Dennis Hildeby. Thoughts on those guys?
Johnny, back, jump in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's pretty clear. Wall's going to be given the opportunity with the keys here to start. I think that's going to be the case. He's earned it. I think Stolarz is going to be a really good option. One of the kids that came over from Florida, I think it was the kid that got hurt. He basically said that, you know, Stolarz has a chance to be like, you guys don't know how good this kid is, right? And you know what, I like the fact that Matt Murray's hanging around. You know, is he going to play with Toronto? Probably not. But you know, at the end of the day, hopefully, it's all going to come down to health. And I say it every year. You know, if the Toronto Maple Leafs play the right way, and Craig Berube gets them playing and the system that he wants and the way that he wants, goaltending isn't going to be as big of a concern. You know, because I think he if you look at the St. Louis Blues teams that he coached, and I think he was in Philly for a while as well, very defensive, structured, but a little bit of run and gun too, right? So risk and reward, but you better compete every shift, and you don't miss your assignments. And if you have an opportunity to take the man, you take the man. There's not going to be a lot of flybys happening with Craig Berube. You saw him; he's fired up in game 1 of the preseason, right? Love it. He's going to hold them accountable, but he's also a player, right? People are, oh, you know, how's Austin Matthews or Mitch Marner going to play for? He's not going to be. You know, this is the National Hockey League, right? Scotty Bowman wasn't getting in Guy Lafleur's ear and screaming at him and calling him this and that and the other thing, right? And nothing's changed. So those guys aren't, you know. But you know what? He's also not afraid if they miss their assignment or you know, dog it on a shift or you know, dog it back to the bench. They'll get an earful, but it'll be respectful, and you know, I think it's going to be good. I'm excited.
So
I say those two though.
Okay, so since you jumped in on coaching, I'd like to just say that no one's happier. There's not a Maple Leaf fan happier than I am that the AHL coach is gone. I just had to say it. It's done. It's out of the way now.
Here I'm gonna let you give you a challenge here. This is a season-long challenge.
Okay.
If the New Jersey Devils win the Stanley Cup in June of 2025, I think you need to get Sheldon Keefe tattooed right across your arm.
I think it's probably. I think it's.
We don't take that bet.
I think I don't think I have a choice on whether or not I accept the bet. I think that's
perfect.
You know, there it is, done.
Yeah, perfect. We'll look forward to that.
So,
not that I want Jersey to win, but you know, I think Jersey's going to be a good team this year. I mean, you know,
well, until the
Keefe,
playoffs.
No Keefe, I didn't matter. They're a team that is on the up. They got some good young players. Luke Hughes is hurt. That's going to hurt them. He's got 6 to 8 weeks. But that's a good young team. Watch out.
Oh, yeah. Wait till you see what an American Hockey League coach can do for that team. It's going to be great. Way to go, Jersey. Good hire. But now back to the Leafs. Okay, so with regards to goaltending, I agree with you. I think Wall's deserving of the shot. The concern on Wall, obviously, it appears as though he's made of glass, and he's never been able to stay healthy. So, does he get the keys to be number one? Sure, to start. I'm not opposed to that. I was ready to give him the keys at the beginning of last season. Stolars, I agree. I listen. You're the backup goalie on a team that wins the Stanley Cup, and your numbers are pretty good. You get a little credence.
He was a good junior. He played in the World Juniors. He's been around,
like 100%. So there's that. I think for everybody that's Matt Murray hasn't been an NHL level goalie in 5 years. So if Matt Murray's in the net for us, we got bigger problems. I think Hildeby is.
Yeah, I think he'd be the third option.
I think he is too. And quite frankly, see how he starts off with the Marlies. If he starts off the way he started and finished last year, really, you know what? He might get his shot too.
Yeah, it
right?
Depends on injuries. Like I said, if Wall stays healthy and he's got a good team in front of him and they're playing, 750,
and he's the guy. I agree. He's the guy.
They're going to run with him. But he gets hurt or goes on a 3-game skid or and then Stolars gets the net. Same thing. You get on a run and you're healthy.
Go with the goalie who's hot.
Absolutely. And you got all year to figure that out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
There's no way this team constructed as the way it is should be even in a battle for a playoff spot. So you've got time to be able to get the right guy. So yeah, that's it for the goalies for me.
Yeah, I'm good.
Right on. So heading to the defense, it looks like there's 7 front runners. Obviously, there's Riley, Tanev, OEL, McCabe, Benoit, Liljegren, and Hakanpää. Pretty solid group.
So here's a question. 2 questions I think that come out of this group. One guy you didn't mention is Connor Timmins.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying Connor Timmins is going to win a Norris Trophy at all. He's an offensively minded defenseman who has, let's call it, gaps in his game defensively. He never got a shot under the former coach. He makes $1.1 million. He's an expensive cap hit. So there's that question mark. Does he make this team? Does he get moved? The other question that I think that we really got to look at here, and I'm fascinated by this, is what do we do with Timmy? Timmy makes a lot of money to be a third pair defenseman. Does he make this team, or is there a move that comes from Liljegren?
I think he's in play. I think he's been in. I said this to you guys in the last show. I think he's been in play all along. When you're talking about Liljegren, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Timmins, I'll speak on him first. Timmins he's a little bit more offensive minded than he is. Timmins isn't bad defensively. Where Timmins' game is an issue is in the transition game. Okay, if the puck's moving north and it gets turned over, I don't think Timmins' skating puts him in the position to succeed. But if you're starting defensively in your own zone, Timmins is not a bad defender, right? He's in his position. He plays his position well. He uses his body well. He gets pucks out for the most part. It's on the transition, and that's where you'll notice all the big mistakes that he makes. It's when the puck's going north and it turns over rapidly, and in the NHL it turns over and it zip, and you better be on your horse and angling the right way. And I don't think he skates well enough to do that. And at the NHL level, that's where he's always been exposed on the rush.
Can you coach that though through positioning?
No, you can't coach feet, right? Yeah, you can coach it, but it's a power skating coach. It's not anything, because you could coach him, and he's been coached to play defense the right way in a defensive zone situation. It's when the puck is pressing, especially when he's deep, because he is a little bit of an offensive guy. So if he even gets deep and that's turned over, it's over.
Yeah.
He doesn't transition well enough to get back in, into the play, or B, into the play that he can be effective, right?
So do we see Connor Timmins making this team?
No, I don't. I mean, I think they've been trying to move him, and I don't think they, it was Kyle Dubas. I mean, it's a Sault Ste. Marie guy, right?
In Pittsburgh.
So,
He's going to Pittsburgh.
You'd think, right? But I think he's in play. I think Lilligren's in. I think still something's going to happen here on the defense core with this team. I think
it has to, right? I think it has to.
Something has happened for Pat Brady
forwards that are in play. 2 camps in play. I think Reeves is in play. All these guys are out there, and if the right move, teams are going to see, like, general managers in the NHL are very, very smart guys and evaluators of talent. And when you look at a team on paper, you might be really excited, but then when you see that same team in a training camp environment and maybe see how the team gels, and maybe some of the new guys, their work ethic that you didn't know about, or their ability to interject into the team dynamic. So there's going to be some GMs that a week ago were pretty excited, that in a week from now are going to be going, we're not good enough. This team is not good enough. And now that's when those conversations will heat up coming out of camp, especially when you got to get to a roster size and this and that. So I truly believe there's something happening, and I think it's for a top 4 defenseman. I think there's enough forward depth that they can start. I don't think that there's a hole that I don't think within the organization up front right now that they can't fill for the time being. So I think the big move is to get another top 4 defenseman, have a little bit of a competition, carry 8, and you're going to get injuries, right?
Of course.
You got to have good teams that win Stanley Cups are scratching guys that have 500 games in the NHL to in the playoffs, and then that guy's ready to go in game 4 when 2 guys go down in game 3. So you got to have that. You got to have 8 NHL defensemen going into the playoffs to be able to, and you can adjust at the deadline. But I think they're in. I think there's something going down. I don't know. I don't know how big, but it could be real big. Could be real small. You never know.
Just as a point of reference, I don't know if you guys saw this, but first round draft pick from this year, Ben Danford, concussion. So he's out. We don't know how long. Listen, Ben Danford wasn't going to make the team. I'm not saying
he's 3 years away.
He's from being a year away, right? Like he's many moves.
He's a defensive defenseman. That those guys don't. They need 2 to 3 years in the American Hockey League. They finish off junior American Hockey League. You got to understand the game at a high level of speed.
The flip side is to it, though. You know what? I don't know the history on him. I don't know if this is concussion 2 or 3 on him, or if
you probably won't know either.
Right. So something to be mindful of, though, just as we go down the road. How do we feel?
Well, I would look at a kid like that, and if I'm driving the bus as the Toronto Maple Leafs general manager, I'm telling his junior team that he doesn't play till Christmas.
He's sitting out, and he's 100%.
Yeah.
How do we feel? I feel pretty confident. Do you guys feel pretty confident that we're going to go like Morgan Riley, Chris Tanev, OEL, McCabe, and Timmy and Benoit? And then I don't know if Yanni Hakanpää is ever allowed to play hockey ever again, if we're ever going to see him play.
I think we will. I like that 7 to start. You can do a couple of.
I think it's a great, I should say it's a great 7, but it's a solid NHL 7.
Yeah.
Were you guys surprised to see the Benoit and McCabe matchup be split up?
I mean, I think you got a new coach, and he'll have his own ideas. Will they go back to it? Yeah, probably. Right? They're going to try everything. Will Marner and Matthews be split up? Yeah, probably, because they're not going to win 82 games. And, the guys are going to go into a slump and they're going to need to do something to shake it up. But the nice thing about it is, having options and flipping it around and showing the new coach what you can do. I mean, I think I watched a clip of Matthews and Nyes down low doing a cycle in practice a couple days ago in camp, and it was almost if you remember, early mid late 2000s when Gino came in and Sid, and when they wanted the puck on the wall,
you weren't getting it.
You didn't get it, and that reminded. And I know it's training camp, but you got two real strong guys and big guys moving the puck down low. We'll get into Marner later, but I've been pleasantly surprised with his ability to get through this summer. Like I would have bet the farm that he wasn't going to be here right now. I think we talked about that.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Okay, so and to bring everybody up to speed, just in case you're tuning in for the first time and kind of dialed out over the summertime, Nolan, do you want to talk about Yanni Hakanpää here and kind of what the situation was and why there's kind of this mysterious cloud about him?
Yeah, for sure. So on NHL Free Agency Day, the Leafs didn't announce it, but I believe it was Chris Johnson that broke it on Twitter. He said Yanni Hakanpää to Toronto, 2 years, 1.5 mil AAV. And then the Leafs never posted anything about it, so everyone was kind of confused on why he hadn't signed, like why they hadn't posted it. But I guess because of his knee, he needs a medical clearance before he could sign. And then just probably 2 weeks ago, they announced a 1 year, $1.47 million deal with Hakanpää.
They got insurance to sign off, saying that it's okay. And I think Hakanpää, from what I understand, Hakanpää basically signed it away and said, if I get a career-ending injury, I'm
good. I'm good. So
I think the kid's a tough hombre. If you watch some of the shifts, that he's he heavy guy to play against, big wingspan and a little bit nasty in front of the net.
He's a big man.
Yeah. So he, guy like that's like, hey, you know what? I want to play.
And so the issue to my understanding, and I only play a doctor on TV, is that it's bone on bone. There's no cartilage in between the knee, right? So every impact, it's just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, bone on bone. Yeah. And you know what? I am, that's that. But part of me says, though, that's the guy I want.
Yeah.
I want that guy. I want that guy. The guy who's going, you know what? I just want to play. Just put me up. I can deal with the pain. Give me a cortisone shot, whatever it is. I'll numb it. We'll deal with it later. Let's go. Yeah. And you know what?
100%.
How refreshing for a change is that in a Leaf uniform?
Well, and those are the type of guys too that you
win with.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, just for everybody watching, if you're watching this live, it's 1-0 Leafs. Alex Steeves gets a goal early.
Good. All right. Well, moving on to the forwards. These are the lines at training camp a couple days ago. It was different in the games tonight and on Sunday night. But here's the lines that I got here. Nyes, Matthews, Marner. Domi with Nylander at center and Cal Yarncroke. Bobby McMahon, John Tavares, Nick Robertson. Steven Lorentz on a PTO until he got injured with David Kampf and Ryan Reeves. And then you got Max Pacioretty, Holmberg, Verbenken, and Easton Cowan, Jacob Quillen, and Alex Nylander. So there's 18 forwards there. Only 12 can make the team. Yeah, take it away.
Okay, so we got to talk about the elephant in the room, right? The elephant in the room is what do we do with Mitch? And I'm going on record, and you can go back to the final show that we did last year and the one that I did with Kara. I said, I guarantee you, come opening faceoff, Mitch Marner will be in the lineup. I haven't changed that opinion. I'm of that opinion. I don't see Mitch Marner being moved. I'm not saying it's the right move. I just don't see it happening under the leadership as it currently stands. And because above all else, Mitch drives the bus here. And if he does not want to go, and if he wants to give it another run, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now, for everybody that's going to get on me about Mitch Marner, listen, I've been critical of Mitch on a regular basis. However, I also give Mitch his flowers where it's deserved. Mitch Marner is an elite playmaker in the NHL. Absolutely. 100% every day of the week. Does Mitch Marner do everything the way I want Mitch Marner to do it? No, he doesn't. Does Mitch Marner struggle to elevate his game when the ice shrinks? I think the results of that speak for itself. But that's on Mitch Marner. That's on him to elevate his game in high pressure situations. And it's not just on Mitch Marner. The other guys have to as well. But for a guy who does what he does and commands what he commands and says at contract time, this is what I'm owed because I'm worth it, there is a certain amount of responsibility that comes with that. And so I'm not above Mitch Marner. I want Mitch Marner to get paid. I have no problem. If Mitch Marner wants to get $13 million a season, I don't have a problem paying Mitch Marner $13 million a season. Mitch Marner in the regular season is worth every penny of that $13 million. I have no problem with that. It is incumbent on Mitch Marner to be able to elevate his game, to be able to do what you saw Connor McDavid do, to what you saw Leon Draisaitl do, to what you've seen Sidney Crosby do, to what you've seen Nathan McKinnon do, to what you've seen Cale Makar do. If you're going to be that elite guy and you command the elite money and say you're that good, the time to do it is not in November. It's in June. That's all I got to say.
Well, and good points all the way through, but at the end of the day, you don't have until June, right? Right now with Mitch Marner. So there's conversations going on between Darren Ferris and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they've talked term and they've talked number. Okay. I think where I see this right now, and if you watched Mitch's interview at the beginning of camp or in the intermission last night or 2 nights ago, Elliot asked him, he said, are you going to negotiate? Or is this one of those when the season starts, no more negotiations? And Mitch didn't say that there wasn't. Mitch just said he's not going to be part of those negotiations. His representative, Darren Ferris, will be looking after that side of it. That's a very positive thing as far as people that want Mitch Marner to stay with the Toronto Maple Leafs, because that looks like, it's one of those things here. I don't see this kid walking at the end of the year. One of two things, or three things could happen. Okay. A month into I think they want to see how he and Berube gel his camp. They want to see how Berube plays them and how he uses them and this and that. And Berube and the Toronto Maple Leafs want to see how Mitch plays under Berube's system. Okay. So I think there's a little bit of a window here in the next month, 6 weeks, where they're going to say, okay, we got to either get this kid done. We got to get him to waive his no trade and maybe move him now for lots if we can get an extension. Or we look at him and say, listen, we'll ride it out, but you got to sign a 1-year extension. Bridge deal will give you 13 or 14 million to give us an opportunity to keep you. Right. And those three things I think would be the only way.
And I just want to preface, because I think it's important that the average person who might not watch all of the comings and goings of what goes on contractually and just, what's going on. everybody needs to take a deep breath on the number. The number's almost irrelevant, right? Because the salary cap is going up. Okay. It's not like coming out of COVID and that's a flat number. The numbers are going to go ballistic over the next 3 or 4 years. Which is why Austin Matthews signed that 4-year deal, because he's going to cash in again.
Right.
The TV numbers.
And I can see Mitch doing a 2 or a 1 or a little bit of an extension at 12 or 13, right? And then kaboom, right? And then whether it's in Toronto or somewhere else. But I like it because it gives this group a chance for 2 or 3 more years to, they're good players. I think the chief, Craig Berube, is going to be able to, maybe push some buttons, but you never know, right? We say it all the time. 16 teams get in. You got to stay healthy. You got to your best players have to be your best players. You got to get a bounce. You got to get officiating. There's a lot of things that are going to come into these guys winning a Stanley Cup.
You got to not run into Vasilevsky and Swayman every year,
right? You switch divisions, do a divisional realignment. Go to 116. I don't know, but at the end of the day, one team wins every year.
Yep,
that happens, right? So put yourself in the mix and try to get the best group together. If Mitch Marner's not going to be part of this team after next June, you have to identify that now, and you've got to try to get some assets for him now. So if you think that he's going to sign in Chicago, which is what I'm hearing, if he was going to go, Chicago is going all in, right? Then you try to move him there.
Okay, so let's put the Mitch Marner to bed.
Yeah.
And
I hope he stays. I hope he's here, and I hope he has a good year, and they go deep.
Listen, like John, it's not let's hope he has a good year. Mitch Marner will have a great year.
Yeah,
he will. Right? Like that's
contract year. Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, let's be very clear about the critique. No one, not a Leaf fan alive, has ever complained about Mitch Marner in games 1 through 82. Everybody's on board. He's a great guy. Elevate when it counts. But that's a story we won't know that until the end of the year. What do we think about
Nylander at center?
You knew where I was going.
I like it.
I think you have to give it a run, right?
But for a stint, let him play the preseason. Let him start the regular season. Let's see, right? Don't get a 10-game, 15-game window to let him, do what he's got to do. I think he's an elite hockey player, right? I think he's going to step up, and that gives JT a little bit of a step back and roll and minutes, but also assignments, right? So, whatever it's going to take to get this team ready, they're gonna look at. They're gonna explore all those options.
I agree with you. I think for me, if Willie's going to play second line center, I think he needs Mitch Marner on his wing. I'm terrified, frankly, of having Max Domi and William Nylander on the same line, because defensively, it is going to be an adventure every night. So I don't love that pairing the way it's played right now. But unlike the previous coach, I got a lot of faith in this coach that he'll figure it out.
Well, that's the reason why he's got Yarncroke with them now, because he's defensively.
He's going to babysit. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
The one thing that I do love, and I loved it last year, and you guys know I went on and on and on and on and on about it, was McMatthews with Robertson and Tavares. Tavares 5-on-5 as a second line center in the NHL is not an effective person anymore. He's just not an effective player. 109th, 5-on-5 for scoring. His time is playing defensively. Absolutely. Great guy. Win the faceoff. Absolutely terrific. What you did with the puck once you had it was invisible. As a third line center playing against a third line or a fourth line guy, when he was paired with McMatthews and Robertson, his numbers were great. And so I love that line. And if you can keep that line, Johnny, I know you're not a Nick Robertson fan. I still think there's something there. I really do, and I hope he gets the shot this year under Berube to show it.
Yeah, and again, like we said earlier about the trades, I think he demanded a trade and then nobody wanted him, or they were talking, offer sheet.
That's a tough
nobody
call.
Nobody signed him, right? Offer sheet would have cost them a 3rd round pick or something with the money he's on, 4th round pick, right? So if he was as valuable as everybody said, somebody's going to steal him. Well, they could have. They could have for a puck bag and a bag of chips, right? You have that kid. So now he signs even for less than what he thought he was going to get paid. So I think he's maybe they'll find a taker in a move. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think Craig Brewery's going to like Nick Robertson very much.
All right, and then Nolan, Steven Lorenz, Alex Nylander. Then we've got everybody's favorite former Habs captain. My understanding is the deal with Pacioretty's already done and in the bag, and he's on a PTO while they figure out the money.
Yeah.
They know the money. They got to figure out where it's coming from.
That's what I mean, right? Yeah. So, like Pacioretty, he's on a PTO, but he's already on the team.
Yeah, his agent already announced that the deal's done. Just waiting to sign it.
Yeah, duh. Yeah. The guy can still play hockey. Right?
And so here's my question to you guys. When I'm looking at Pacioretty, I see Pacioretty playing top 6 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? When Nolan was reading out the lines there, I immediately thought Pacioretty instead of Yarncroke on that line.
100%, John.
I think Yarncroke, I think Camp, those guys are on the block.
Bubble.
There's 4 or 5 guys. Reeves is one I said. Robertson. There's 4 or 5 players. Liljegren, Timmins, right? All those guys. So if somebody comes a calling and says, "Hey, you know what? Those are some pretty good young players that I'd like to maybe give a new look," you could package 2 or 3 or 4 of them up.
So Liljegren's making $3 million. Yarncroke's 2.1. Kampf is 2.4.
Yeah. So you trade those 3 guys for a $7 million defenseman, and the cap works.
No, but it's an interesting, there is money and there are things that can be done.
Lots can be done
to make it work.
Lots can be done. Yeah.
If you were given the option here of Steven Lorenz or Pontus Holmberg or young Nylander, what are we thinking?
You want me to be honest? I think Nylander. I think the upside of young Nylander would blow the upside of those other guys away. I think if young Nylander can do what he's done in spurts over his career, he's a 1st-round pick. There's a lot of scouts that believe that this kid
Matthews, right?
What's that? I think so. Yeah.
Matthews.
Yeah, there was a lot of scouts that swore this kid's going to be good.
And I mean, Buffalo was hard, right? Buffalo had no coach and they had no players, and Buffalo was a mess.
Yeah, and you know what? It's tough sometimes too, being the younger brother of a guy that's doing pretty well, right? He comes out and that's a little bit hard on the head and whatnot. It looks like they're close. You always see video
rollerblading together.
Vacation. Yeah, they're with their no shirts on, going down the boardwalk in Stockholm or wherever they are. But yeah, I'd give this kid every opportunity. And if you could get him to the player or even 3/4 of the players that he was projected to be, maybe get some chemistry with the brother. I mean, the upside of Alex Nylander is tremendous. Tremendous. We lost Nolan here.
And I think that the real issue there is built around consistency, right? Like, are you the guy with Pittsburgh who in 25 games had 2 points and he had time with Crosby and Malkin and everybody else and couldn't get it done? Or are you the guy from Columbus?
Goal a game.
What the heck, right? It was just, but I agree with you, Johnny. I think that you always got to go upside, right?
I give him
That's
every opportunity.
And that's why those guys get the chances.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll see. I think it's there's lots to look forward to, like every year, right? It's a good group. Coming out of camp, though, you never know, right? Let's see how the start goes, and if any moves get made, whether it be minor or major. So as Nolan's coming back, Johnny did a top 50 list. Okay, so he sent this to us the other night, and he said, "Here's my top 50 NHL players." There's Nolan. I was just talking about. Yeah, no worries.
We're just getting in the top 50.
I was just talking about the top 50, and John spent his valuable time making this top 50 list, which good on him. I didn't have too many issues with the list, other than at number one. And you guys can go through the list, and I can chime in. But
okay, so
number one, I truly believe.
Okay, hold on. Before you say it, I'm going to go through the top 10. Okay, and then we'll discuss, and you can jump in on where you think. So I've got Connor McJesus at number one. To me, it's a clear cut. Number two, I've got Nathan McKinnon, and number three, I've got the Savior. Number four,
Austin Matthews.
Yeah, sorry. Number four, best defenseman in the NHL, and maybe the best since Nick Lindstrom. Is Cale Makar, and it's not even close. Yeah, it's not even close. Five, I've got Nikita Kucherov. Six, Leon Draisaitl. Seven, and I took a little heat for number seven. I've got David Pastrnak for the Bruins. Number eight, fresh off leading his team to a cup, is Alexander Barkov. Number nine, shockingly, and this one really surprised me with people that I know that I took some heat for this one. I got Sidney Crosby at number 9. I think he's that elite still. And number 10, hard to keep him outside of the top 10. Last year's Norris Trophy winner, Quinn Hughes. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, boys?
Quinn Hughes at 10 is a little questionable for me. Would you guys rather have Yossi or Quinn Hughes if you're starting a team?
But that's not. I get. See, and that's the thing, right? It's not who you're starting with. It's who right now today is a better player, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
He's got the all the years in front of him, and just he looks so the part. But listen, Roman Yossi, I think he's 11 on the list.
He's 11.
You know what I mean? He's like, it's right there. He was the guy that I was hemming and hawing on, but I went. You win the Norris Trophy, you get the bump.
Well, you know what? We spoke about it briefly off the air, and that's why I kind of, just so people know, I know this is a Leaf show, and I've got an Edmonton Oiler and a Colorado Avalanche jersey up here. I'm very superstitious. I'm a Leaf fan, diehard, bleed blue. I'm not putting any Leaf jerseys up this year. Well, maybe in the playoffs, we'll see. But we're gonna rotate it through some of my other favorite players, or guys I coached or taught or things like that. But no more Leaf jerseys up. So I put the Makar up for a reason. Cale Makar is the best player in the National Hockey League, bar none. Bar none. You got a right shot defenseman that'll get you 85 in his sleep, defends the way he does, and is 27, 26. You're like, I know Nolan mentioned who you're going to build a team around, Quinn or Yossi. If you went to every single general manager in the league right now and said, you're going to start a team with an active player, I'd say 90 of those votes are going to be for Cale Makar, and then maybe 5 for McDavid, and maybe one or 2 for Matthews and maybe Bedard, or you know what I mean? But I'm telling you, people didn't know how good Bobby Orr is, even though he was winning scoring titles and Norris trophies. Watch this kid play. Stay up late on the East Coast and watch these Colorado games. He does something almost every shift. He'll do something elite. And McDavid too. I'm not taking this isn't me bashing McDavid. Tremendous player. I look, and we talked about this as well. I don't think when it's all said and done, I mean, they're both obviously first ballot Hall of Famers. I don't think that McDavid, the way he plays the game, is going to have the longevity of maybe some of the other forwards that have played, 18, 20 years. I think if McDavid plays 12, 13 years, I think that's going to be a lot. He reminds me a lot of a kid, Pavel Bure, that came up, and the speed, just the ability to score, put your team on your back, and just excitement. But with that comes a little bit of pain too. When you play that way and you take impact at the speed that those men skate with the puck, those guys skate faster with the puck than they do without it, right? And when you have impact repeatedly, knees go quicker. Okay, your legs will go quicker. Bobby Orr was, another perfect example there. 10 years.
Pat Quinn.
Yeah. So, but yeah, McDavid, I mean, generational, unbelievable. What he did in the playoffs last year. I mean, he almost literally, dragged that team to a Stanley Cup championship, right? Tremendous. But Cale Makar is the best player in the world in the sport. And I think he has been now for a couple of years, and he will be for several more.
Nolan, what are your thoughts?
See, I love Makar. I love him as a player. I still got him at like 3 or 4. If I were starting a team, I would take McDavid, no question about it. Best player in the league. Definitely a top 5 player of all time if he continues at his current trajectory.
Well, he's got to win.
Exactly.
Top 5 players of all time have all won. Multiple. So to put him in that conversation, he better win 2, right?
He'll get 1.
Minimum. No, I don't doubt it. Now
that
they got Draisaitl there. That's they're well on their way. But at the end of the day,
you got to win.
Yeah,
you got to win.
And who does he unseat? Who do you have for your top 5? Let's do that here, and then we'll
see, I'm a bit younger, so I've only seen Crosby and McDavid play really.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
you're a student of the game.
You got to know. Come on, you can't hide behind "I'm a young guy." Okay. You can't hide behind that.
I'll go.
Your dad's like 100. He remembers. Ask him. He remembers like Dick Clapper and Eddie Shore and stuff at his age, right?
Yeah. Did Eddie Shore start a union or something? I don't know. Maybe something.
Okay, so here's my Mount Rushmore. I'm going Gretzky, Lemieux, or Crosby. Sorry, Gordy, but
yeah. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Top 4?
Does Crosby make it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can go further back, and there's guys like.
Yeah, I think we got to talk modern era. We got to talk modern era.
GOAT is a GOAT, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if Ace Bailey's playing against these guys today, I don't know that. With all due respect to Ace Bailey, I don't, or the kid line of Charlie Conacher and those boys. Respectfully, great for your time. I don't know that it translates. So that's why.
And it's tough when you talk championships. Jean Beliveau's got 10. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
6 teams, right? Now there's 32, and Crosby's got 3, so that's very relative to your 10, if not better, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't disagree, but if you just look at numbers and what they've done and the impact they had on the game, it's similar to that basketball debate, right?
Just to be very clear, before we start, there is no basketball debate.
Well, I know
there's none.
MJ. It's that's MJ, right. Then probably
the only
Kobe.
Acceptable answer.
MJ, Kobe, and LeBron. LeBron's played forever, and he's great.
Correct. John,
Hall of Famer.
that is the correct answer in basketball. Right. You are correct.
But in hockey, there's not that. I mean, Gretzky for sure, just based on pure numbers and the way he dominated. Bobby Orr based on the way he changed the defense position. You can't ever take either of those two, in my opinion, off. I don't think you can take Gordie Howe off, right? So now you got a rotating spot for that 4, right? Is it Lemieux right now? Is it going to be Crosby? That's a tough one for me, right? It's a tough one for me because of Lemieux's health issues but as far as but then you can throw a guy like the Big E in there too. If you're talking about when they played and the dominant part of the game, Eric Lindros for 3 or 4 years in the mid 90s.
You can't have that conversation.
I'm not saying he's close, but my point on it is how do you define window? Right?
Are you saying for a window?
3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 years in a row, there's nobody more dominant than Eric Lindros.
I agree.
Right?
That's a fair.
That wasn't long enough, and you didn't win, and this and that. Mario won, didn't play a long career, right? Or won, didn't play a long career.
So,
so does Crosby, who played a long career and won, and was does he sneak in there because of the longevity?
But so to me, and I agree with you on the first two. I don't think there's any debate on Orr and Gretzky. I don't think there's any debate. I look at. Listen, I only got the tail end of Gordie Howe.
How old are you?
45.
Yeah, Gordie Howe played in the National Hockey League at 51.
I know. So
at
that's
a high level.
Hartford Whalers, right?
That's enough.
So
that's enough.
All I'm saying
people were scared of him. And he was 51. They were scared of him.
I'm not taking anything. I'm not taking anything away from Gordie Howe and how elite Gordie Howe was versus his peers. You can't, right? It is what it is. I wasn't around for. My grandfathers told me, my dad's told me, my uncle. I know the history of Gordie Howe. I know the imagery of Gordie Howe. I saw Mario Lemieux do things on the ice like when he decided he wanted to score, he scored. And I look at Crosby, and Crosby's like he was the heir apparent to that. I saw it like I was a grown man watching Crosby play, and there are things that guy's done that I just like, and I mean little things like just like the greatness stuff that you see all the time. It's the little things that Crosby does that are at such an absurdly high level that to me it's both Pittsburgh guys or in Gretzky.
Yeah, he's you know what? He's done it for 20 years. And he's always been. He won the scoring title at 19 years old.
And so I'll tell you this, John.
You know what the difference is now? Over the first few years, Sidney didn't know how to be a leader, and his trajectory.
A lot of tears, Johnny. A lot of tears to the referee early on.
Yeah, and Sidney learned, and you know what? Being around guys like Mark Recchi and Mario Lemieux and guys like that, he learned how to be a pro. And he learned how to, and now he's going to go down as one of the most beloved players, certainly in this country, based on the 2010 goal, right? Well, Paul Henderson, that folklore, right? And people maybe Philly fans or nobody talks bad about Sid, and they used to. When he came in, it was crybaby whiner, yeah. Nobody talks bad about Sid.
Now,
could he be there? Yeah.
From a lot of people that I respect, I did take a lot of heat for putting him at 9.
Yeah,
I did. I've taken a lot of heat for putting him at 9. I think
it's so arbitrary, John. You know what I mean? Like it depends on what you look at. There's I did a camp last weekend with some kids in Prince Edward Island, and it was a pre-tryout prep camp. So what this camp was about was to do some skills, get ready, this and that. But I also talk to them a lot about body language and leadership and what coaches look for in a tryout. And it's not always they know who can skate and shoot and pass and when you get to the older levels, handle themselves, toughness, blah 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 blah. They know that, right? They're looking for maybe a kid that makes a mistake and how he reacts to that mistake and how he interacts with his coaches and his teammates after there's some adversity that they're going through. And those are the things that are going to make, get you to make a team, right? When the coach blows his whistle, to change a drill, be the first guy there, right? Be ready looking at him, there's so many things that you could judge, a player on that aren't goals, assists, and minutes and penalty minutes and things like that. It's the intangibles, and you're bang on about Sid, right? He brings so much to talent's there. It's always been there, right? But now just the intangibles and the leadership and the almost Mark Messier like as a leader now, right? He's still scoring 80, 90, 100 points. He's almost 40.
He almost dragged
Yeah.
a barely decent Pittsburgh team.
Yeah.
Into he had him win one game of the playoffs last year, playing almost by himself.
Yeah.
Like
no, for sure. And you know what? Then you'll have people that'll say, and Gordie Howe, I think part of the Gordie thing for me is how much Gretzky idolized him. And I remember Gretzky coming in and being
That's
very
fair.
just Gordie. So then being a Gretzky fan as a kid, now I'm like, oh, Gordie. And I got to meet Gordie a couple times, and he was,
I got to meet Gordie too.
Tremendous guy. And he's a Saskatchewan guy. My Jack was born there, and that's our home, right? So we but then you'll get guys that'll say Gordie Howe wasn't even the best player in the league when he played. Like Maurice Rocket Richard was there, Bobby Hall, right? There was argument always about Hall or Howe, Rocket Richard or Gordie, right? So
Phyllis Pizzino could certainly put the puck in the net too.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Guy Lafleur, there's a lot of good players. So what? At the end of the day, it's fun to talk about.
By the way, for the record, Wendell Clark should be number one on everybody's list. Just if we're being honest about it, just for the record, I had to say it.
I'm gonna. Do we have anything else to talk about? I've got a challenge for you guys before we wrap up, and then I'll wrap it up. Nolan, do we have anything else? Or are we good?
No, pretty much touched on everything.
So Tuesdays, hey, you know what? Tuesdays, and unless circumstance, sometimes it'll be two of us. We'll try to get on the three of us, and we'll talk about what's happened, what's about to happen, and keep Leafs going. We have a Facebook page that you can join. We have a group, TML Weekly group. I'm going to give you guys a trivia question. I'm going to give you 2 answers each, and I don't think either of you gets it. And put your hands up here so I know you're not typing.
Yeah.
Okay. In the decade 1980s, okay, who was the second leading scorer in the National Hockey League? So from January 180 to December 31st, 1989. And I got this question, and probably I think Nolan, I might have been with your dad, and we were going into a pub in Toronto, and it was up on the wall, and it was like a trivia question of the day.
Steve Yzerman.
I actually got it. The 80s? Came in 84.
Doug Gilmour.
No, it's definitely not Doug Gilmour.
You know who else came in 84? And it's not him. Mario.
Yeah, Mario was 84, 85. No, he was 83, 84.
Yeah, but no, it's neither of those. Canadian team is my only hint. 1980s.
Yeri Curry.
No.
Is it an Oiler?
No.
So it's not Mess either. It was a Canadian team. 80s. I got nothing. Calgary.
Number 26 from the Quebec Nordiques,
Oh, I forgot about the Stasnies.
Yeah.
I forgot about Quebec completely. Oh, the Stasnies. Yeah.
Peter
Stastny was. He was second? Really?
Second in the 80s. Yeah.
You know what? It was funny. I'm going through my head. I'm like Calgary, Vancouver. I forgot all about Quebec completely.
Yeah. No, let's say, we'll try to do that. We'll do a little fun Johnny, you're next week. Think of a trivia question for Noli and I, and we'll do one next week. Great to be back, everybody. Thanks to Don Cherries and Bjorn Hockey. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Go Leafs, go.
All right.